Hi, and welcome to this introduction to the International Phonetic Alphabet and Articulatory Phonetics. By the end of this lecture, you will be able to establish the link between phonetics and linguistics, define the International Phonetic Alphabet, identify reasons for using the IPA, and start familiarizing yourself with the symbols used to represent English sounds. All right, let's kick it off. What is linguistics? Put simply, linguistics is the scientific discipline that focuses on the study of human language. As linguists, we want to understand the different structures of language, from speech sounds to sentences and larger structures. We also want to understand the relations between those structures and how people use them to communicate and interact. When people talk about linguistics, they usually mention 5 main areas of linguistic science: phonetics, phonology, morphology, syntax, and semantics. Phonetics is the study of the sounds of language and their properties. Phonology is the analysis of how sounds relate to each other within a particular language. Morphology is the examination of the structure of words. Syntax is the study of how words relate to each other within phrases, sentences, and other structures. Finally, semantics is the analysis of the meaning of linguistic structures of different sizes. We recognize at least 3 different branches of phonetics: auditory phonetics, acoustic phonetics, and articulatory phonetics. Auditory phonetics studies how sounds are perceived in our ears and processed in our brains. Acoustic phonetics focuses on the properties of the different sounds that constitute human language. Lastly, articulatory phonetics is the study of how sounds are produced in the vocal tract. This is the branch of linguistics that we will be focusing on in this course. To summarize, articulatory phonetics is the study of how the sounds of speech are produced in the vocal tract. It is a branch of phonetics, which is at the same time a branch of linguistics, the scientific discipline that focuses on the study of language. It's time for a short break. Come on, stand up, stretch out, get some water, pet your cat, listen to your favorite song, and we'll be back in a minute. Okay, are you there? Are you ready? Let's go on. In our study of sound production, we will rely on a very useful tool called the International Phonetic Alphabet, IPA. The IPA is a system of symbols used for the written representation of speech sounds. For example, take the word think. In writing, you see 5 letters, but a phonetician will tell you that there are only 4 sounds in this word. The TH combination sounds the only vowel sounds I, similar but not identical to the Spanish vowel E. Then comes a weird looking N that we call eng or velar in. And lastly, a more familiar K sound. Using the International Phonetic Alphabet, we can write out how any word is pronounced. Knowledge of the IPA will make you a more independent student. You will be able to find out how a word is pronounced without having to ask your professor or a native speaker, who are not always around, as you know. You will also be able to record a word's pronunciation and practice it later. Lastly, by knowing and using the IPA, you will be better prepared to make connections between how a word is spelled and how it is pronounced. In sum, you will be better equipped to learn English and any other language and to help others do the same. Now, before presenting the list of the symbols that we will be using, let me reassure you. It is okay to feel a little overwhelmed. Some of these symbols will be completely new to you, and you will feel like you're learning to write again. It's also okay to not completely understand how a symbol is used or pronounced. We will have plenty of time to practice this in class. For now, just think of the symbols as people that I am introducing to you today. You don't have to know their names. You don't have to know everything about them. For now, just start familiarizing yourself with their faces and their characteristics. In this first slide, we see the stop consonants of English. You'll learn what a stop consonant is later on in the course. Let me call your attention to the glottal stop and the n or velar n. We do not use any of these symbols in regular orthography or spelling. The glottal stop is the sound that we produce when we pronounce the consonant T in words like cotton and mountain, or between and o in the expression uh-oh. Let me pronounce that again. Cotton, mountain, uh-oh. The ing is the sound that we pronounce in words like sing and plane. We will study the difference between this n and the n that you are familiar with later on in the course too. In this second slide, we see the fricative consonants of American English. The theta, ed, esh, and edge are most likely new to you. Theta sounds as in ether or think. Ed sounds as in either or they. Esh sounds sh as in pressure or she. Finally, ej sounds zh as in pleasure, beige, or vision. This other table shows the affricates of American English. Good news is both exist in Costa Rican Spanish. Th sounds ch, as in choke. It is the same as the sound in plancha, chayote, or chancho. When I was a student, my classmates and I jokingly called this sound chancho sound because it sounds like the ch in chancho. The edge sounds j, as in joke, joke, joke. It is the same as in the Costa Rican pronunciation of yo, or pollo, 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 joke, joke. This last set of consonants shows the approximants of American English: L, R, W, and J. You know the L sound. It sounds L. The R sound is slightly different. It sounds R as in rock or red. The W sounds W as in woke or we. The J sounds E as in yoke and you. Let me pronounce all those words for you again. Luck, rock, red, woke, we, yoke, you. Before we look at vowels, let's take another short break. All right, it's time to stand up. Again, stretch out a little bit, walk around, and we'll be back in a minute. Okay, it's time to come back. Ready? Let's go on. This slide presents the monophthongs, or simple vowels of American English. Importantly, though similar vowels exist in Spanish, the English vowels are different from the vowels of Spanish. Listen. E, peed, I, pit, U, suit, soot, tear, pet, set, tore, door, pat, cat, pot, hot, above, about, love, but, and duh. You're right. The last two vowels sound exactly the same. Actually, researchers have found that not even native speakers can tell the articulatory difference between these last two vowels. We'll have the chance to learn more about them later on in the course. We call diphthongs by their sounds. We have 5 main diphthongs in American English. Listen. A as in Kate. O as in coat. I as in kite. Ow as in cow. Oi as in coy. We will also be using these other symbols. We'll use slant lines for broad transcriptions. We'll use brackets for detailed transcriptions. We will use the primary and secondary stress marks to identify the most prominent syllables in a word that has 2 syllables or more. You can think of these marks as Spanish stress marks or tildes. Primary stress mark is put before the syllable that is the most prominent. Secondary stress marks are put before the syllable that is the second most prominent syllable in a word that has 2 syllables or more. A raised H will be used to mark aspiration. Aspiration is that puff of air that you hear when English speakers pronounce the P, K, and T at the beginning of words like peed, kid, and tea. A colon will be used to say that the sound before the colon is extra long, as in kid. This is a length mark. It means that the vowel or whatever sound comes before the lengthening mark is extra long. A dot will be used to mark where a syllable ends and the next one begins. Lastly, a symbol that looks like a fish hook will be used to represent the sound of T and D in words like city and atom. City, atom. We call this sound a flap. Again, I know that is a lot of information to process. You will have more time to process this information as the course unfolds. Let's see how we're doing. Can you tell me the relationship between phonetics and linguistics? Can you tell me what the IPA is? Can you tell me why it is helpful to use the IPA? Can you recognize some of the symbols and sounds that they represent? If your answer is yes, congratulations. If the answer is no, it's okay. Just go over the slides again, or post your questions in the course Q&A, or ask me in office hours. These other resources will help you enhance your knowledge of the IPA. Make sure to check them out. Let me repeat that again. You have to check these resources out. By following the link in the first one, you can watch a YouTube video that presents more information about the IPA. Once you have watched this video, click on the link included in the second resource to listen to the sounds represented by the IPA symbols introduced in this lecture. Lastly, if you follow the link in the third resource, you will be able to hear and see how the sounds represented by the IPA symbols are produced. You will also be able to listen to sample words containing those sounds. These resources are all listed in our course website in Mediación Virtual.